And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great program today. On the hotline with us now is Jim McGinn, Vice President of Marketing for Powerteq. You've heard me talk about Diablo Sport. Well, Diablo Sport is one of Powerteq's brands. And as Car Clinic listeners and viewers, you know we've installed a Diablo Sport InTune i2 performance programmer in our test vehicle, a 2015 EcoBoost Turbo V6 F-150 Ford. And I can personally attest to the installation ease and the performance enhancement of the Diablo Sport InTune i2. So I invited Jim to join us today on Car Clinic to give us a little more information about performance programmers in general and, of course, specifically the Diablo Sport InTune i2. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Glad to have you in the house.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
How have performance programmers evolved through the years? We heard about chips years ago, and today it's a whole new ball game.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, I think it kind of coincides with the technology you've seen in vehicles. We like to call our technology white glove technology. So, as you referenced previously, they actually used to have, physical chips, EEPROMs, that you would, open the hood, pop it on, and that's where you were going in to dial up performance. Whereas now it's simply what we call plug and play. With the OBD2 in the vehicle, that's where we communicate. That's where we plug in, and from there it's like operating an app on your phone. And in fact, the i2 looks somewhat similar to today's smartphones, and so I think you've seen the hood stays closed. Like a lot of technology, things are getting smaller. So the form factor itself has shrunk, and just the speed and ease of use overall, as far as going from start to finish and adding performance to your vehicle, has it's light years ahead of where it was even 5-6 years ago.
Well, and to that end, being in the automotive service and repair business for some 45 years, and of hosting Car Clinic broadcast for 25 years. It's not always easy for us to reprogram a vehicle with regard to service or upgrade from the OEM. And that's why I was so actually surprised, Jim, to say the least, about how easy it was to reprogram the F-150 that we actually tuned a short while back. Let's shift gears and go a little deeper into CMR, because I've talked about CMR to our Car Clinic listeners and viewers, or Chip Master Resolution Custom Tuning. What does CMR mean in lay terms?
Sure. So, when you have an i2, it comes out of the box equipped with some what we call preloaded tunes, which technically are custom tunes that we've built, designed for, in your case, the Ford F-150. What we've also, come to see in the marketplace is that, car guys and car gals, there's obviously a lot of things that people can do on top of wheels and tires when it comes to timing for cams or headers. Or things that we would consider more along the lines of a stage 2 or 3 bolt-on or add-on. And so what we've done is we've created software that allows you to really unlock that vehicle's true potential. So tunable parameters, spark timing tables, fuel tables, things that will allow you to actually go in and customize the tuning specifically for the aftermarket modifications that you've made. So, that's been a big progression of tuning for us. We have something that we feel out of the box can work for anyone, and then we have this software that's now available through a host of dealers across the country that can write you a tune specifically for some of these bolt-on modifications that you've made.
We're talking with Jim McGinn, Vice President of Powerteq, about the Diablo Sport InTune i2 performance programmer. Jim, let's shift gears again. SEMA is coming up, and for folks out there who are not familiar, SEMA is an acronym for the Specialty Equipment Market Association, which is all things OEM and actually all things that are inventive and innovative about the aftermarket and about new cars, as well as the cars on the street, to include classic automobiles. I imagine Diablo Sport will be at this year's SEMA. What are your plans for this show this year?
Yes, we'll most certainly be there. It's, as you just explained, it's all things automotive and aftermarket that'll be there. And so we will be at the show this year. We're actually going to be across from our colleagues and group that we're part of, Holly MSD. And so Diablo being a Powerteq brand, we'll have our own booth right across from Holly this year. We're actually going to be very close to the Ford booth, which we're excited about. And we'll be on site with our sister brands, Edge products, and Super Chips. And so really it's an opportunity to showcase everything that's new and great about your brand. Obviously, the iTube will be on display as that's become kind of a flagship product for Diablo Sport. But we've got some new things in the works as well that we plan to unveil in the form of some new form factors and also some 50-state legal products that we've been testing with the state of California that we're really excited about because it expands our reach and also follows the emission standards that are now required.
Well, I'll just briefly touch on California. If the company is actually creating programs that are legal and acceptable for California, then that means that they're good for all the states because of California's CARB and their strict rules with regard to emissions. So that means that it's legal. It will be legal in California, and therefore you want to affect the emissions of an automobile. You can tell if that's correct or not. I want to make sure that I'm sending the right program to all of our listeners. And also, I have a question. You mentioned Holly Performance Group. Is your corporation or tied in with Holly?
We are. So that just about a year ago, we were purchased by the Holly Performance Group, ourselves in addition to MSD. So it was a large undertaking. There's quite a few brands now, iconic automotive brands that are now all under one heading. So we've been able to, pool resources on the engineering side, the marketing side. We've got a vast network of dealers, and so it's really been a good fit for us, and we're excited to be partnered with them. And then there's also some tie-in with some of the Holly brands and products that they sell. There's Blackheart exhaust, there's Flowtech headers, there's things that a lot of our Diablo customers find to work in conjunction with our tuning, and so that there's a natural fit there for us. And then to touch on the 50-state legal portion, you are right. So typically the executive orders, which is it's essentially a legal document that you're given once you test and are approved with the state of California, have typically been kind of the gold standard as far as 50 states. So Powerteq has invested in our own emissions equipment. We've also tested and tuned with the SEMA Garage, which is a great tool that SEMA offers member companies. And so we've actually passed the testing. We're in the process now, unfortunately, where it's come down to paperwork, where you're processing documents and you're waiting on the official approval from CARB. So we're excited about that. For the long-term interest of all of our brands and our companies, it's something that's going to be at the forefront. And the good news for us is that the tuning that we have currently was not manipulated to pass those standards. It was really just something that we went through the process to make sure we're doing it by the book.
Great. Yeah, by the book. Jim, one last question, or at least a couple of questions. One, the 2017, and I've spoken about this recently on Car Clinic here, the 2017 Raptor Ford F-150, the same 3.5 V6 engine now boasts 450 horsepower and 505 pound-feet of torque. So, folks, what that means is the OEMs leave a lot of power and a lot within the engine because they want to err to the safety. And quite candidly, Jim, it is my belief that they always save a few horsepower so they can come out the following year with an upgrade of the same vehicle with an extra 5 or 10 horsepower. I said all that to ask this question. For the average F-150 owner out there that drives the EcoBoost Ford or otherwise, but specifically the EcoBoost that is in the 340, 345 horsepower range, what does the Diablo Sport InTune i2 Performance Programmer provide in the way of performance?
Sure. Well, ironically, I drive the exact same truck that you're talking about, believe it or not. So I've run the tuning on my truck. We make 54 horse at max performance. Now that's running a 93 octane tune. And to touch on briefly what you mentioned with the 17 and the horsepower that's going to be on that new Raptor, typically what we try to do is, and what we hear quite frequently is that my vehicle doesn't need any more power. And more often than not, that may be the case. We all know we're always hungry for more. But what we really try to do is provide some specific calibrations in the form of these preloaded tunes that are designed for someone that may tow a boat or may have a daily drive where all they're doing is highway driving and they want better fuel economy. And so in addition to providing that power, what we really try to do is eliminate things like downshifting, optimize power throughout the RPM band, eliminate lag, And so it really creates what we like to say here is an extraordinary driving experience. That's one of our value statements and our vision statement for the brand, is to make sure that while you can deliver all the power in the world, and we could certainly deliver more and above and beyond what we do, it's really about making sure it hits the mark for the customer and that they feel a difference for whatever functional use they may have for the vehicle.
And it's always great for someone to be able to purchase a product, a known quality product like yours, and then Diablo Sport, and then install that on their automobile, which is a simple touch screen. And folks, I've done it. It is very simple. And to receive a benefit every day, day in and day out. So hats off to all of your programmers, the guys behind the doors that do all the ones and O's and the programs, and hats off to Powerteq for the leadership, including yourself. So I appreciate your time. One final question. Where can our Car Connect listeners and viewers go for more information?
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you having us. And the best place to come find more information on the i2 or any of the Diablo products would be DiabloSport.com.
Great. Jim McGinn, Vice President of Powerteq, the Diablo Sport parent company. Jim, it was great to have you on Car Connect today. Have a great day and appreciate all the great information on the Diablo Sport InTune i2 programmer.
Thank you very much.